The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philos-O-Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And we are here with episode 41.
41.
And what is the title?
This is Chatting with the Other Side.
Ooh, fun one.
Yes.
Fun. This is like when you get to go on field trip, kind of.
I think so.
For me, it's like kind of exciting to watch and hear.
I'm excited because we haven't done anything like this before. And
Right.
I know that I'm pretty much going to be taken over for this.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, before we hop into this one, you got anything from last week?
I do. I have a couple things. Awesome. Last week was the mindfulness episode. And one of our listeners, Lynn, she sent us this. She said, just finished listening to this episode. As always, a great listen. Thank you for breaking it apart. Years ago, I was always living in the present. I got lost a while living in the past, but I can now say I live in the present, and for me, there is no better place.
Awesome.
Yay. Glad that you took that, positive from there. I know it's a lot for people to absorb, and it's a lot of habits to change, but it is really, really worth it. I've worked on it a lot this week since that episode on different things, and you bought me roses for our anniversary, and yesterday I was changing out the water for them, and they, maybe for somebody else, they would have thought they're dead, but I thought these are beautiful. Look at them. They're just starting to blacken on the edges.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that with mindfulness, I now slow down and I notice these little details. And I sat there staring at that rose and was like, wow, look at these, You just look at things differently.
Yeah, because even in its decay or, dying, it's still beautiful. It's aging. And everything, I think, has beauty as it ages.
And that's a good point. And it's funny that you say that because there were a few things that I took away from that experience yesterday. My dad talked to me while I was looking at the rose, telling me that he would help me paint it if I wanted to. But the other thing that I took from it is that I have come to the conclusion that I'm past my prime. And it's all downhill from here. And it's okay. And it's been it was really hard for me to get a grasp on that and realize that it's okay that I'm getting wrinkles and that things are changing and, it's okay.
You're still beautiful.
Well, thank you, babe.
I still love you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love you too. And our listeners are all bleh. But looking at that rose like that, it made me feel that way. It made me feel like, look, just because this rose isn't in its prime anymore, or it's not working towards its prime, it's still beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. I think the color they are right now, that's my favorite color.
Yeah, it's
they get this blackish purple to it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never, these are things I never really thought about before. Mm-hmm. But paying more attention to those little details, it starts to bring these things out, and it takes you deeper. It took me deeper into thinking about myself in that situation.
Right.
So.
Cool.
Yeah.
So who was that shared that?
That was Lynn.
Lynn.
Yep.
Thanks, Lynn. That was cool.
Thank you, Lynn. That was a fantastic statement.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So, and then the next thing I have is actually kind of funny. So we had talked about in the Winchester Mansion episode that I had connected with Walt Disney and that I was having a really hard time talking about it, right? So I've been trying to kind of build it so that I can talk about it. And my friend Chelsea, we were talking about it the other day, and she said, well, if you ever connect to Walt Disney again, will you ask him why he decided to freeze his body? And I felt like I had to set the record straight. And Chelsea's like, you have to talk about this on the show. So I'm like, I just have to mention it. That if you think Walt Disney's body's frozen, it's not. He was cremated. I believe it was the Hollywood Cemetery.
Yeah.
It's a myth. It's a total myth.
Folklore.
Yeah. Chelsea's like, my whole entire life has been a lie. So I thought our listeners needed to be educated on the fact that he's
it wasn't just
frozen.
his body, that it was his head.
His head. That was another
why would
one.
That wouldn't even make any sense. Well, what are you going to do if they can bring your head back?
Yeah, you're just going to be a head
into
with
your
the
brain,
body.
you know? I don't know. That's
I don't. I think once upon a time I read how that got started, but I don't remember. But yeah, it's not 100% not true.
Nope. He's over there and well.
Yeah, he's fine, and his body is,
ash.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
All right. So episode 41.
Yes.
Chatting with the other side.
Chatting. Okay. So as I had mentioned earlier, I'm a little bit, I don't know, not concerned, but I don't know where this episode's going because I feel like they're going to take over. And when that happens, I don't always know. So sometimes I'll ramble, and so you'll have to stop me maybe. Mm-hmm. But the thing is you won't know, probably. It's not like I'm going to change or anything, but it'll be interesting to see what happens and where this goes.
Sure.
So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read one of these questions, and then I'm going to connect to what I'm getting from the other side. Okay. And then we'll talk about them like we always do.
Right.
And then in between, I have some readings that I told people if they wanted me to do readings for them on the show that I would. And so I'm going to do a few of those. These are ones I haven't even looked at yet. I just I looked at them knowing that this is what this is about, but I haven't connected to those spirits yet. So this will be completely fresh.
Cool.
So yay, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. The first question that we have is what is the other side like? And then asking me, have you seen it? Have you been there in meditation? As far as the other side goes, I have to say, and I think you agree with me on this, that it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
You create your own reality in heaven, which is why there's also different levels of heaven. And the bottom level, if you're still living in a negative reality, that's where you can get those kind of negative, people that are stuck. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So when you go to heaven, that's the easier way to put it, other side, heaven, it is your own reality. So for me, the things I love, my family, I love dogs, I love Disney. What else do I love? I don't know. There's all those things. That will be my reality. Yeah. But your reality will be different. You know what I mean? It's really...
yeah, and I think that's even,
if you
on some level, I think you go beyond that, too. Where, the animals are always there to connect with, I think, just being there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But
I'm just thinking of things I like.
As far as... if you dream of the mansion and in the fancy neighborhood and all that, that's what you'll have.
That's what you'll have,
But if you stay there, you're not growing.
Right.
Just like in this world, if you stay stagnant, you're not growing. Right. So there's still a desire, though, on the other side, is that you kind of spend time in each level. And that's one of them, I think, is where you're sort of manifesting, you realize your powers and of your perception in your mind. So you're manifesting just about everything you can around you.
Yes.
You can still have your loved ones around you.
Yes.
But what you're manifesting isn't necessarily what they're seeing.
Exactly.
It's all in your own mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not really a physical anyways.
Right.
There's no, real...
I would probably be more like Rob in the sense of I would spend a lot of time around music.
Oh, well, they do spend a lot of time around here.
Yeah.
But I think talking about what they do, what their reality is on the other side, here is completely different. Here, they're just in our world. It's a different dimension. Right. And that really is what the other side is. It's not floating in the clouds. It's another dimension.
They are a part. This is a part of their world.
It is.
But in a different way.
Yeah. They can leave it like a door. Mm-hmm. It's like a portal.
Exactly.
That we go through when we pass.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
That was a good question.
Was. Cool.
Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Okay. And this one kind of fits a little bit. You were just talking about this. Are all the souls same on the other side? So are we all on the same level? And I don't think that we are. And I think how this works is how much you work what your lessons, what you put into it, what you're manifesting, like you were saying. We come here to live a life, to learn lessons, to become a more whole soul. And so every time that we come back here and we successfully learn lessons, we're stepping up more and more over there. And the more good that we do here and the more that we help people here, the more we're stepping up over there because we're doing good. So the souls are not on the same level because we're all working at different levels. But
your soul's still working even when you're a human. You're just walking around in a body. You have to do it. You have to learn how to do it on this plane and on that plane. So, but what you don't realize as a human, because you forget it at birth, is that you've done this before and you're back to learn something else that maybe you missed the last time around. And so you forget all that and you think you're just this mind walking around in a body. Well, you are. You have a mind. But there's much more to you than just the flesh and the mind and the bone. And that is the work that your soul's trying to do to move up over there. So when you return there, you're not returning to the same spot. Just like when you come back to another life, you don't return to the same life.
No, exactly. And if you do something really bad in this life, like let's take like mass shooter or something like that, I feel that you actually do take a step down a little bit when something like that happens. You have to learn even more. You're kind of starting over in a certain way, So it's different for every soul.
That was a good question.
What is the dying process like? That's a good one, isn't it?
Well.
So this is something that I have thought about and I have meditated on. And again, it's an experience that's something completely different. We talk about this sometimes, you and I, about, when different souls get there and we see them for the first time and that kind of thing. What do we think? How do we react? When I try to dig into this, what the dying process is like, I feel like it's that portal again, opening up. Our soul leaves our body. There's no pain. It's like birth. It's like, there's really no such thing as death. It's like a cycle. So when you die, you're just being reborn on the other side. Even though you're not starting over like you do here, you're just being reborn. And then when you decide to leave there to come back here, you're being reborn here.
The death date is celebrated much greater there than your birth date is celebrated here. So it's a welcoming back party, essentially, unless you're brand new soul, but I most likely not.
No, I don't,
So, but that
was a good one. I lost my train of thought.
There was something I wanted to say.
I know, me too, and I'm like, where was I going
What was the question again?
What's the dying process like?
Oh, well, I mean, I've held people's hand as they've taken their last breath. I've been by them. And so I can't say physically for myself what that's like. But I can say that I truly believe that you can exit your body anytime before your body actually expires. You can leave, meaning your heart can still tick and you can have reactions to things. You may not be coherent in responding, but you can leave. And this can be done at any time, meaning if you see a head-on collision coming and there's just instinctively there's no way, you'll pull yourself out. You can choose to leave and just go and not feel that. If you want to feel it, you can feel it. It's so fast, but you can choose that. If you choose not to, you can leave, or you could choose to not leave and take the chance of maybe surviving and maybe who knows what after,
I knew that this was kind of going to be what was going to happen, that when I would have these kind of questions, they would want to expand on it. And that's kind of what I'm feeling, is that they don't want me to just stop with explaining about that, how your soul leaves your body. But I think it's important to know what happens when you actually get to the other side, because it's it's kind of, for each of us, we have a different kind of thought on what is it like. Am I up against a jury of, people judging what I did in my life? What happens? So again, it's different for everybody, but for the most part, once you get there, you are reacquainted with your loved ones who are, friends, animals, your family, everybody. There is no animosity. So if you left this life in a disagreement with one of your family members, you weren't talking to them, there is no animosity. You don't get there and walk in with your tail between your legs. It's a celebration. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's like hey, you made it back.
Right.
We're so happy to see you back. And then it would be like, me looking at somebody that did me wrong and being like, taught me a lesson there. There's no animosity. It's not like you're going to get there and I don't know how to explain it. Not want to be with these people that you think you may not want to be with.
You will not be judged by anybody there. The only judgment comes from yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And then after that, you do go through a life review. And again, I feel like a lot of people think that this is where your jury sits and tells you what you did bad and what you did good.
Right.
But that's not what happens at all.
No.
You're your own judge and jury. And I have really been expanding on this lately, and there was one night, I don't know if you remember, where I really got deep into the life review and what happens in it. And we were standing out in the garage and we were talking, and I realized that this is weird now. Dead me, my soul was watching the conversation. So basically it was like Scrooge, okay, like the movie Scrooge. That me over there that people don't normally feel watching was watching my life review. It blew my mind that night when it happened. I was like, what's happening?
That's simultaneous time.
Simultaneous time, exactly. Yeah. So the reason why they came in at that point and showed me that was because it was such a breakthrough. So those are moments in your life that you can choose to see. You pick and choose what you choose to see. If you want to see, your first love, your first kiss, whatever, you can actually not just see that, but you can experience those feelings again. It's really cool. I was really hoping that this was what it was going to be like, because you do have those memories where you're like, man, that was like Disney World. I love it. Let's go do it again. But I know 42, I can't really do that whole thing again. So I'll do it again when I experience it in my life review.
Something I heard was just as necessary as it is for the humans to breathe oxygen to survive, it's necessary for the soul to want to gravitate closer towards the energy, to whatever you want to call it, the energy, God, whatever it is. So these levels that we speak of, you'll go through them.
Right.
And you might go through many lives as you go through these levels, but you're instinctively attracted to the energy. You want to move up and be as close to it.
Yep.
And where some of these high-ranking angels and souls,
like a moth to a flame.
Yes, exactly. So if you could put it in an analogy, it's just as important for them to be moving there as it is for us to breathe oxygen here. So doing good work is only helping you there.
I absolutely agree with that. That's a very important point. So, and again, so the life review process happens, and then from there you go into that, after that you go into that learning stage like you were talking about, where I feel like you can really pick apart the things that you did in this life that maybe you didn't learn from.
Right.
Which is why for me in this spiritual awakening, I've chosen to pick those things apart while I'm here, because I would prefer that when I get back there, I'm not learning about the mistakes I made in this life. I want to learn more about other things so that when I come back in my next life, maybe I'll be even higher up. Because I do feel too that when you reincarnate, of course you can reincarnate into anything that you want, if you want to, if you feel that you need to live a poor life because you were rich in one life, then you can do that. But I also feel like your spirituality almost stays with you. So I hope that that's the case, because I'm hoping that in my next life I'll be more spiritual from the get-go.
Right.
That's the one thing that I'm like, I really don't want to start over with that.
Yeah.
Like, put me in, poverty, but give me my spiritualism. Isn't that weird?
But it's funny because you're making this plan with a group. It's a weird concept because you have a personal path and growth as your own individual soul or extension of God, right? So you have this natural instinct to want to do good because you are an extension of God.
Right.
But you have this group that you're connected to, your soul family.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys make this agreement each time you step into these lives to learn something from it.
Yeah.
So you might switch roles in the next life.
Yes.
Or you might be the opposite role now than you were in the previous life.
Yeah.
So
as long as it's for the greater good,
yes,
you can choose your roles anyway.
It's about how to love one another and how we're learning that.
Yes.
Through patience, compassion, and understanding, and peace and love. And we say at the end of every show, because as cliche as it is, that really is the true answer. If you could tag on compassion and understanding, that would be the 4 main things to walk through this life.
Yeah.
Trying to learn or exude.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think that's what we're trying to do and what we're trying to pass on to our listeners too, so that maybe you can have some of those experiences and do some of those picking apart, so that when you get to the other side, you'll be, it'll be happier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a happy.
Right.
There's no down there.
No.
But you'll be higher, I guess. Whatever you want to say. So there's a couple of questions here that I'm going to put together, and then I'm going to do a reading off of these because I think they fit together. The first question is, do you have a choice to stay or come back when you get to the other side? So I get what she's saying. For example, like my mom did this. My mom was given the choice if she wanted to come back here, if she wanted to survive or she wanted to pass on.
Right.
And she chose to pass on for her own reasons because she knew she could help her kids more from the other side, which she has. But not everybody has to have that, because as you get older, if you're at the point where you're in the dying process anyways, then you're not going to be given that option.
Yeah, the body's too old. It can't.
Yeah. I do feel like sometimes too that and I believe we've talked about this and you might feel the same way, is that if a soul is too, I don't want to use the word messed up here, but if things are too out of control here and they're not going to get better, you can choose to exit. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, then you're making that choice.
Yes.
So it's different for everybody.
So then they go, well, what happens to that body if that soul exits?
Yeah, then we're going back to simultaneous time.
It's simultaneous time, exactly, because there's imprints. That's how we can jump into moments or take over in a life where everything's erased and you just start over and everything's programmed essentially into you, the memories that this person has, and now that's your lesson.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you can do it that way for sure.
So it's not like the body just collapses because the soul decides to leave. The body continues until it physically can't, disease or age or whatever.
Well, and here's another example, and this is why I brought this in, is what happens when a baby is stillborn or dies at birth or shortly thereafter. I truly believe that this is the soul's choice in saying that they're not ready to come into this world for whatever reason. This wasn't the right time.
No.
It's different for every soul. Why they didn't choose to come in is their own personal decision. It does strongly affect what happens to the family here, yes. But again, sometimes those are learning experiences. Sometimes those are life-changing experiences. The girl that submitted this question, Chris, actually, she submitted the reading that I'm going to do right now. So she has lost a child, and I don't know her very well. I believe we met in one of the the groups, the learning groups. So I do believe that she has abilities as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if she developed these after her son died, but I do tend to believe that when we have a life tragedy like that, a lot of times it does push us into spiritualism and connecting to the other side.
Right.
So if that is the situation here, Chris, then that's probably one of the reasons, unfortunately, why your baby passed. But I want to do this reading for her.
Plus, you have a strong connection from the other side that's trying to make that breakthrough.
Yes.
So you're a little bit more kind of like, it makes you more aware, sort of.
Exactly. So she doesn't have a picture, which is fine. But his name, the name that they gave him was Morgan Tyler. And, oh, wow, it was 11-10-11.
Wow.
Yeah. That's two of my numbers in there. So let me connect to your baby. So there's obviously not much that I can do to validate in a situation like this. Like normally I would tell you what the baby, or what the person's hobbies were or what they were like. But right. With the stillborn, I can't do that.
No.
All I can tell you is that this baby is, I do feel like this child's going to return to you. I feel like it just wasn't ready at this time. You weren't ready at this time. I feel like it had a lot to do with the situation, with the father possibly. I don't know if you're still with the father. I don't think so. I'm feeling that you're not. And so I feel like this just wasn't the situation for this baby to be born into. And that when this soul is ready to come back, that he will, and it will, I do feel, as another child for her, and that it will be the right situation with the right father, but this soul is waiting to come back. Cool. Don't rush it. It'll happen when it's meant to, but he will be coming back to you.
That's cool.
And I do feel like this was, it did help increase her spirituality. I feel like it, as much as it wrecked her for a while, it really did push her along this path. So there you go. And I'd love to hear your feedback.
Wow. So, cool.
This is why I don't do verbal readings a lot, because I tear. I start to cry. But yeah, the medium circles, they get me every time. And I knew before we did this, I was like, you should bring some tissue with you, don't you think?
It's because I just feel their presence.
Yeah.
As soon as they're kind of wanting to be talked to. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. That one I knew was important. I know that it's tough. I can't imagine as a mom, but your little boy will come back to you.
Yeah.
So let's see, what other questions do I have? Let's see. I think we kind of covered this a little bit, but what happens when you see someone on the other side that you didn't like in this life? We talk about this.
Well, I think we kind of said it a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
That really there's nothing's forgotten, because again, this was a plan you made with each other.
Yeah.
Nothing's forgotten, but all is forgiven.
Exactly.
There's not 1 ounce of animosity and whatsoever.
Right.
Nobody is judging you. Again, the only judgment that you will have is from yourself.
Yes.
Of what did I do in that life, or what could I have done better? That's it.
Yes.
Nobody's shooting anything at you.
Right.
That's it.
This is one of the reasons why we say that peace and love is so important, because if we can let these things go in our lifetime, then we don't have to relearn. We don't have to learn from them when we're there. We can just enjoy being there.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to understand that these people that surround you, whoever they are, your parents, siblings, ex-spouses, whoever, they are a part of your soul family. Mm-hmm. So when you get to the other side and you see them, you're going to be happy to see them. For me, one of the things that kind of held me back for a while was my relationship with my father, who has passed. And I had not talked to him in many years since he had passed, or before he passed. And so when I became a medium, I hadn't really felt him before, but I didn't really know what it was going to feel like, even if he was around. Once I learned that I was a medium, I started trying to bring him in a little bit more. And I realized that not only is everything on his side forgiven for things that, I mean, I didn't really do much, but, you know, I was a kid, that he forgives me in hopes I forgive him. But my mom and my dad are close and they hang out and they hated each other in life. But they're close. They're soul family, which trips me out, you know? So that has taught me a lot about, okay, I'm going to try and deal with these things while I'm here, not just with the spirits on the other side and like my dad fixing that relationship, but also like, you know, just the things here, the relationships here, because it's so much better. It's so much, when you realize that we really are all one, you start to see that these stupid disagreements that we have and the way that we treat people, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
But take your mom and dad, for instance. I mean, they may have not liked each other in this life, but it didn't start that way.
No.
You know, it started with love, you know, so it didn't end that way in this life, but it ended there that way. So that prevails all. It will prevail all. So, you know, like for me, I guess I once you realize that everybody has a story and a past, and probably most of us have had things happen to us that are traumatic or hard.
Yes.
But that isn't license to go out and do the same thing.
No, it's not.
To people, you know. They're trying to teach us, and we're trying to teach ourselves from the other side, that work on that here.
Yes.
Because this is the hardest place. This is the school. This is the lesson.
One of the things that I've noticed that my mom's especially been doing over the last year or so is trying to undo the damage that she did to me with her own bad behavior. Because there were a lot of things that I took from our relationship or things that I saw her do that now she's trying to unteach because she didn't know any better when she was here. So for me, it's great. I'm learning why these things have happened, why the relationship with my parents happened the way that it did. And these are all things that we'll all learn when we get over there as well. But being able to put it together here and kind of let it go, it really is important. Letting go of those things and not feeling the need to hold on to whatever it is that you think that, this is another good point, those things of like, where should I bury my loved one? Those types of things. What do they want? What do they need from me? Are they angry with me? All of those questions. When it comes to those types of things, they're really not that important.
No.
They're not important to as far as where you bury your loved ones if you cremate them. I wish I would have had that knowledge when my mom died. Would have saved a lot of money because I thought that I was doing what my mom wanted me to do by following her wishes. And I did. I followed them, and I realized that there were things that happened when she died that were making me not follow some of her wishes. Like the jewelry that I asked her to be buried in, they gave it back to me. That was my mother's doing so that I would have that jewelry, those types of things. So, you know,
because her wishes here may then change as soon as she gets there because she realized what's really important.
Exactly.
So hearing that and knowing that, like, that your mom and dad are there, you know, and can get along. Makes me feel good because, like, you know, the mother of my child, who I'm no longer married to, you know, that's been hard. And I've really made an effort, I think, to be like not engage into words, like words that stab and hurt. Just communicate on behalf of the kid. Whatever the kid needs, that's it. Don't get involved in anything like that because, you know what? We're going to end up being friends anyways.
Exactly. You're going to end up right back. My ex-husband hates me too. So it's like, whatever, you know? I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. But, you know, when I see him on the other side, I'll be like, told you.
And that's my lesson to learn.
It is
to just, you know what?
We have
you
to let
be
it
patient
go.
And let it go, but you really do.
It's not worth it. It's really not, you know. We all have bad experiences with loved ones. And, you know, my mom was not the best mom. I've talked about that. She wasn't.
Right.
And when she left this life, we were on good terms. We were on very good terms. But for what I was put through in my life, a lot of people may have thought that I cared too much that she died and that I put too much emphasis into it.
Right.
But I realize now that those things that she did were not really her doing. It was what she was taught.
Mm-hmm.
It was what she was taught and she was passing on, really.
Mm-hmm. Plus
the fact that she's a soulmate. Like, she's somebody that
Right.
will always be with me, and that, just because things were tough for us in this life doesn't mean that that's what they're going to be in the next life.
Right.
Or, she could be my grandma in the next life, or,
Exactly.
whatever. So that has taught me a lot to let those things go, which is why I can have the type of relationship with my mom after everything that did happen.
Right.
And I think that that's important. And I wish more people would understand that and let go of those things and realize that if your loved one is on the other side now, they realize what they did.
Mm-hmm.
If they did bad things, they realize it. They realize if you did bad things.
Mm-hmm.
That comes to another question. This is a little bit more light of a question. I was just thinking, where is it? Do spirits see everything we do? When I first started getting into my abilities and learning about them, and the shower meditation started, that was something that I was actually really shy about. I was like, why do you guys want to talk to me while I'm in the shower and I'm naked? And they would make jokes, and that would make it worse. And I'm like, why are you joking? I'm naked in the shower and you're talking to me. And it was really uncomfortable. But what I have learned is that it's kind of like a light switch. They can turn it off and on. If they're here talking to you and, something happens that they don't want to see, they can turn the light switch off.
Right.
They will still probably know what's going on. They don't watch you take a shower.
Right.
If their soul is there with me in the shower when they're talking to me, they're not like sitting there pointing at me and,
Right.
It doesn't matter is the point. They don't care.
Yeah. I guess I would think of it more of like having a phone conversation on your cell phones in two different rooms.
Right, exactly.
Where you don't really see each other, but you're both there.
Yeah. I mean, they could see what we're doing and, but I don't think for a second that they see me in the shower.
It's completely respectful.
Yes.
It's like all love and respect. That's not what that's about. No.
One of the things that I did at the beginning, here's a funny for you, is I told them, not only can you not watch me in the shower, but you can't watch sex either.
Right.
And I've been very strong on that. Do not talk to me in that spot, So they listen, but they don't have the same kind of like weird things that we do about it here. Like for them, it's all about love and it's all just, natural and, it's not a big deal.
You get there and you realize there's no death. There really is no death.
Right. All
that
these
this
things
really
don't matter.
is a body.
Yeah.
So whatever you do with the body, whether you cremate it or bury it, you might go visit it once in a while and bring flowers or cry, and that's okay. It's not like they frown on that, but they don't hang out there.
No, not at all.
They're not there. Mm-mm. They're more like, you could talk to me when you're at home.
Right. Exactly.
And tell me you miss me and love me. And if you look close enough, they'll send you signs that they're telling you they love you too. Right.
And that they are around you. And
yes.
One of the big questions I get asked, and it's a broad question, but it's like does my loved one know ... Whatever it is that they want them to know, do they know this? And I will tell you that your loved ones on the other side, they know it all.
More than you know.
Way more than you know. But as far as like, does my mother know everything that I've done in my past? Oh, yes, she does. Is that embarrassing to me? Yes, it is. Is it embarrassing to her? Not at all.
Right.
And that's where our thought process is very different from theirs, is that my mom looks at everything that I've done and everything that will happen in my life as a life experience for me, as a growth experience. Mm-hmm. I'm not frowned upon. I'm not, anything like that right. for whatever I've done. It's all a life lesson. So right. even if they were to, quote unquote, watch us, they're not looking at things the same way. No. They're not judging things the same way. It's a right. life lesson. It's a life experience,
right. We look at it from like time, mm-hmm. limitation, and I don't know, I could throw something else in there. and they don't look at it from that.
No.
So we're looking at it from a physical standpoint, and they're looking at it from a perceptional standpoint.
Yes. So I want to get another reading in here if I can pull myself together.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I got to get used to this, and I realize
we didn't bring any tissues for this.
Who's the stupid ones?
Who's the producer of this show? Yeah.
Shut up. We could have paused this at some time
Where's
and
my
just gone
bowl
and got
of
some
just
tissues.
orange M&Ms?
You have a bowl of orange M&Ms?
No.
Oh, you want a bowl of orange?
Somebody
Come
didn't
on.
read the rider.
Wait a minute. When we started this, I specifically you said you were my sidekick. So if you're my sidekick,
Wait a minute.
where's my bowl of blue M&Ms?
Yeah.
With peanuts.
Oh, boy. All right, next question.
Okay. I'm going to do this reading now.
Please.
Okay, because this kind of comes back to a little bit of what we were talking about. This is Susan. She says, "This is my mom, Lorraine. Any thoughts on the shitstorm you left behind? This is not my job to fix."
Oh, no.
Susan, I love you so much. Like, you don't even know. That was the greatest. And I know that she struggled so much with this. And, okay, so let's connect to your mom, Lorraine, and see what your mom has to say about
cute,
it.
though. That's funny.
Yeah, it is cute. So let's see. Okay, so first of all, your mom's very sassy. She liked things done her way. If it wasn't done her way, it was, kind of an issue. I feel like not only with this instant, like whatever this shitstorm, I haven't picked up yet what you're talking about there, but I don't feel like this is the first time that your mother and you have had these types of situations. I feel like this is kind of something that has been an issue on and off throughout your life, that you've had these moments with your mom where she causes something, or there's something that happens and it explodes, and then you're best friends for a while, and then you go back to, these kind of things, family issues and stuff. She didn't leave this stuff behind purposely for you to deal with. That wasn't the intentions. I feel like she didn't understand what she was leaving behind, that it was more about sweeping it under the rug, or, not looking at it from what could happen if she were to pass, or when she passed, those types of things. She wasn't looking at it from what happens when she dies. She was just kind of sweeping it under the rug.
Right.
So as much as that sounds like she created something for you, she didn't mean to leave this for you. And she is trying to help you fix it from the other side. She's trying to help not just you fix it, but I feel like there's other family members involved. This is some kind of family issue, maybe something within a state, or just, when people die, families fall apart. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it brings out the
Yeah.
bad in a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is some kind of deep family issue. So, I could sit here for hours and tell you how to change your perspective of the situation, but I understand what you're feeling, and I understand what your mother is saying. And basically she's saying, if you can just step back from it a little bit and look at it from a different angle, try and look at it from the other people involved angle, and not look at it as your sole responsibility, even though it may feel like it's your sole responsibility. It's not. You have to somehow delegate or somehow alleviate some of the pressure off of yourself, is what she's saying. So she's a very smart woman. I don't know. I feel like she didn't show that so much in life, but she really is, and she really is trying to help you from the other side. And if you stop and look at some of the signs that she's sending you, you'll see that she is actually guiding you where to go with this problem that you're having, but you're kind of shutting her out, not seeing the signs.
Cool.
Okay, I'm going to stop now.
Good one.
Let's see how it goes. Like word vomit. And I check out completely and it just comes out. So I won't remember that later. That's what's so interesting about all of this.
Well,
and I know that I got it recorded, but I know that sometimes people get offended if I don't remember their reading. And I'm like, really, it's not you. I can't remember all of these.
Right.
No.
I'll
hear it back later and go, wow, that was pretty cool. I said that.
Right.
So,
yeah, you would, no way you would remember all this.
No, thankfully. It's like that movie 50 First Dates, where she wakes up in the morning and things are erased. It's like that.
Right.
Okay, let's see what I have on page 2 for questions. Does everyone know each other? it's, you don't know each other as in like know each other like you're friends with everyone, but all the souls, I feel they recognize each other.
Yes.
So, you know, you see somebody that you've never met before in your life, your soul will know their soul,
Right.
who that soul
Not
is.
by a name,
No.
not by Bob or Jim or Steve or Lisa or Jen. No. Not even by a gender. It's just
soul's recognition.
your energy. Yeah.
That's
They recognize each other's energy. So
yeah.
would you be strolling along somewhere in heaven and all of a sudden be like, whoa, that's Hendrix? No.
Mm-mm.
You would recognize that was a soul that lived that life. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That's another good point, is that we did talk about how the souls are on different levels. We're not all on the same level, but something that there is not there is stardom. You're not going to see a celebrity, like you said, Jimi Hendrix, and be like, oh my gosh.
No,
it's
they're
Jimi.
not segregated.
No. And that's why when I connected to Walt Disney, it was so easy in his area there. That was his domain. It was easy. I was in his domain. He's not a celebrity on the other side. Is he Walt Disney? Well, yeah, one of his lives, he was Walt Disney, but that doesn't make up who he is. That makes a very, very small percentage of who he is.
Right.
So if you were to see a soul like Walt Disney on the other side, you would know. I mean, if you tapped into it, you could be like, oh yeah, that's Walt Disney. He was Walt Disney in that life. He was this person in that life. But it doesn't change how people feel about you. It doesn't give you like a higher ranking or something because you were famous in this life.
Do they appreciate what it is you did in that life? Sure.
Yes.
But no more than the homeless veteran that died,
That's exactly right.
homeless.
All of our good is really the same level. We're remembered for our good. We're praised for our good. It's not, celebrity or
Right.
That's human. That's something that we've done here to, whatever.
And it's not condemnation either. So
Yeah.
you're not going to be there and condemned or, like we said, judged for the things that you didn't do good. You're out of your own natural instinct as a soul, an extension of God, are going to judge yourself and decide what it is you should have done better. And then you'll come back to a different life and you will learn, hopefully,
Yeah.
and move forward.
Exactly. So there's a couple more questions. One of these is really heavy, so I think I'll wait. One of them is, what are we here for? And I think that that's a great question to ask because, first of all, it's different for everybody. My purpose for being here is not your purpose for being here. But collectively, as humans, we are here to, like I said before, we're here to learn lessons. And we're here to grow as souls. And we're here to help. And we're really put here to try and make things better. Our soul is supposed to try and make a better life for itself and for the other souls around it. So that's a big part of our purpose here. Now, not all souls choose to go that way. That's a part of free will. You can choose to go any way that you want. But really, your goal is to come here and learn as much as you can and, peace, love, and happiness. And
I think it's to show ourselves. I mean, and kind of some of the greatest leaders or, like spiritual leaders of the world we're here to show that through kindness, and love and compassion and understanding, we can change our perception about our world and actually put it into what it is we really want.
Right.
And it really is like we're here to really try to help the human race evolve and wake up.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're really here for.
Yes.
The souls come to this planet because the humans aren't the only ones in this universe or this galaxy.
Right.
And we are definitely not the smartest
No.
or technologically most advanced.
No.
So the souls come here because this planet needs help. A lot of help.
It does.
Because we are much further behind. Are there other planets that are further behind than us? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay? But they're not concerned about flying and driving and computers and blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
They're
just like
more,
organisms and things.
Exactly.
But there's much more advanced than that.
Oh, yeah.
And than us.
Yeah.
This planet needs help. So in order for the human race to evolve, the souls have to come here at some point. You
That's
don't
true.
always come here,
No.
but it needs help.
It does.
It needs to awake.
And that's like one of the reasons why I want to do this kind of work is to help awaken people, so that's kind of my job as a light worker. And I consider you a light worker as well. We're trying to spread the truth. We're trying to awaken people to what's going on and how we can maybe kind of change things and fix things and make it a better life here on Earth, because it doesn't have to be this difficult.
No.
We here make it this difficult.
Yes.
Bad's going to happen, evil's going to happen, but within your own life, you can still control your own emotions and what happens in your life day to day and those types of things.
Yeah.
You know? Something else that is really important why we're here is to have experiences. It's not all about learning. It is also about fun and having those human experiences.
Yeah.
What is it like to have a child, or, you know, even you can even fit into this category, losing somebody suddenly. Sometimes that is a lesson we have to learn for whatever reason. It like I said before, it kind of changes us, you know, different things that maybe we didn't experience in previous lives. Like, I'm very thankful that I didn't grow up in an age with cell phones, but I'm like really curious about what's going to happen after we die, what's coming next. And I realize that I will know. Now I'm excited, but so, you know, those experiences here, it's all important. It all fits into all of it. Your soul wants to have different experiences in every life and travel and try new things and be open to new things, because that's really a big part of what life's about as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to do one more reading
Okay.
because I can cry when this is over because we're almost done. And I feel like this is important even though this is heavy.
Okay.
So this is from Lynn. She sent me a picture of her stepdaughter. She said, "This is my stepdaughter, Alicia. I hope she knows how incredibly sorry I am for not being understanding and more compassionate when she needed it. Also, I hope she is at peace." Alyssa is her name. Sorry. Okay, so let's connect to Alyssa. So what I'm feeling from her is that she understands where your compassion level was, and she's not upset at that at all. I mean, she's a spirit, so she's not upset, but she wants you to understand that she realizes why you were the way that you were to her, because she made life very, very difficult. I feel like there was some kind of like addiction. I don't know if this is suicide or if it is drug related, something along those lines.
Like accidental OD or something.
Yeah, I want to say it was suicide, but I never want to say that. But I think that I'm saying that because I think that's another point in this as well that we need to make. So please make sure I come back to that. I feel like she tries to reach out to you a lot. She was a really sweet girl, but very, very troubled. I feel like there's a lot that she did not talk about, and that increased her issues with friends and social problems and boys and those types of things, and she just kind of set herself up for a downhill spiral is what I'm feeling. It's very sad, but she is at peace. She's very happy, and that's the point of why this was brought up, because if there is a suicide or if there is somebody that dies, you know, along those ways that we think maybe the person isn't going to the same places that we are, that's not the case at all.
Nope.
They go to the same place that everybody else goes.
Yep.
They have to learn lessons from what they did. That's the thing. You learn the lessons from what you do in this life if you don't learn them here. So suicide, you obviously can't learn from it when you're here.
Right.
So you have to learn from it there. The hard part of it is that you have to watch the people that really do love you suffer for that. And that has to be very difficult because, like I said, in this life review and in this learning process, you do physically feel those feelings. So your stepdaughter actually feels your feelings for her and what happened.
Right.
As a part of her learning process.
And
same with her father, and
that effect ripples out a lot further than your human mind takes into consideration.
Oh, yes.
When you get
Absolutely.
there, you realize that action actually reverberates a lot further.
It does. It really does. And sometimes it's hard to say that these things happen for a reason, but sometimes, again, a soul just decides to leave its body if it's too tough, whatever it is. But when they get there, they not only have to learn from what they did, but they have to work. We all work in a different way, but when you do something like that, or if you were like a drug addict and so you made it difficult on your family because you were a drug addict, or somebody else in your family is, you will be sent to help those people to deal with that issue, to comfort them, to guide them in the right direction, to try and, like, if there's, like I said, if you died from a drug overdose, you might try and help somebody in your family so that they don't go through the same thing.
Right.
That's a big part of what my mom has done for me too, is made sure I did not go down the same path that she went down.
Yeah.
So they do that there. That's a big part of their growth. So they are all there and they are all happy. They're not, in some dungeon waiting to be released into heaven or some purgatory. They're there. They're working just like the rest of us.
Yep.
Because you got to remember that that's just one of your lives. If you die by suicide in one life, it's just one life. You do have to learn for that, but you can't be punished for, a million lives.
And you can't be in a fiery pit burning because you don't have any flesh that has nerves for a sensation of being burning.
Yeah.
If you're that hard on yourself,
Yeah.
and you perceive that that's what it's going to be, you're going to see that at first.
Right.
And you'll see it, but as you said, when you do go to the other side and cross, you're immediately with somebody.
Yes.
Whether it's your loved ones or your spirit guide that's there to meet you and take you to where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And you could sit in that perception
Yes.
of a fiery thing that you're not going to feel a darn thing of. And they're going to wait until you're ready to stop kind of, I hate to say this, playing games and move on.
I learned something interesting, that as far as religion goes, that there are some people that are so tied to their religion that when they die, they get stuck in the astral plane because they don't want to let go of their religion. I find that really interesting. Because we'll get into a whole religion episode, but I think you've mentioned before that if you worship Jesus, that Jesus can meet you there.
If that's what you perceive as the reality, then yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you come to find out that maybe your religious beliefs are different than what you thought here and you can't let go of them to move on, then you can stay in that astral plane for a while, and you're still happier there than you were here. It's I hate to say it, but I've said it before, this is hell. And what we put our minds through, that's the deep hell.
And the physical part, getting old, pains and things like that. And deformities or whatever it is, sicknesses and disease. But
this is the worst, honestly.
That's a world of mind.
Yeah.
And perception. You know what I mean? So your consciousness is much more connected to your soul than just nerves and connections from your brain to your body.
Right, exactly.
It's much more deeply connected. It goes with you. It's part of you.
You take your personality, you take your memories. Those are the things that you take with you. This decaying meat suit, you leave it here.
Yeah.
Your anger, you leave it here. Your animosity, you leave it here. All of those human things, you leave those here. You take the good things with you. You take the bad memories. Of course you do, because you have to learn from them.
Yeah.
But that's why we should make it good while we're here and stop living in our own heads and be happy and enjoy this life while we're here, because we say that we only have one life to live, which isn't true. Obviously, we have many lives to live, but we only have this life.
This life.
Yeah.
Right.
So make it your best life.
And everyone is important.
Live your best life.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah. So I think we'll stop there.
Cool.
Yeah, we can always do another one of these too. That was good.
Yeah.
I need tissue.
I know it drained you a bit. I could see it in you.
Oh, yeah. No, I have a reading I have to do in a half hour. So, yeah, I better pull myself together.
She's a waking girl.
Yeah.
Well, that was cool. I liked it. Thank you.
Yeah, I did too.
Thank you for opening yourself up to do that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hopefully anybody that she gave a rating to, that helped.
And the rest of them, I do plan to finish them. I just didn't get to them here. So I'll do them if you sent it to me in PM or you put it on the page, I'll get to it.
Cool.
So you know.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before we say goodbye, you want to share your page?
Sure, let's do that. My website is SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. You can find everything there that you need to know, except I do have a medium circle coming up on February 8th. So if you live in Southern California or will be in the area, and you think, that's kind of why I did this sample today. This is a little bit about like what I do in the medium circle is I do these readings. They're just longer and deeper. So that's kind of a little snippet of what it'll be like. So if you're interested in that, just shoot me an email, spiritualjoneses@gmail.com.
Cool.
And you, sir?
If you want to check out my art, djonesartcollection.com or on Facebook and Instagram at djonesartcollection, and our band, Gypsy Brown, gypsybrown.com. or Instagram at Gypsy Brown Music. And you can find us on Facebook too.
Yay.
That's it for me.
Wonderful.
So we really appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to us this week.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this episode.
I really do. It was a good one.
Yeah.
We hope you guys have a great week. And until next week.
Peace and love.